Universe.
Greetings, I'm Shad, and you might be able to figure out what the topic of this video is. Look what we're holding here. I am holding a wet tatami mat.
Yes, very nicely. We are going to be testing all the different things you cut swords with.
Well, not all. There's a lot of things you can cut with. Like, look, you could cut steak, you could cut wood, you could cut your in Minecraft, you can cut lots of things in Minecraft.
Yes.
So,
for cutting tests,
yes,
there are a lot of different things that we can cut with tatami mats.
But this is the thing. A lot of people always default to tatami as the get-go standard. That's what they do. There are other cutting mediums we want to explore them.
But let's be honest here. I'm going to be honest. I've cut all these materials before, and tatami is chef's kiss. It's so nice, Shad.
I don't think it's actually as great an analog for flesh as people claim it is.
Oh, I didn't say that. I just said it feels really nice.
It feels nice.
Yeah.
I haven't tested cardboard, and I think the cardboard is, because the issues with tatami. Expensive, man.
Yes. What, like nearly 20 bucks a roll?
It's not available everywhere.
Yep, not available in our country for the most part, and then shipping on top of that.
Shipping on top of that. And you want something that is somewhat recyclable-ish, more biodegradable, more environmentally friendly.
Like water bottles. We drink a lot of water here because we like to stay hydrated and healthy. And then we have empty bottles. I don't know where that one's been. Then we drink... Yeah, just like that.
What did you put in this?
Tap water.
Yeah, that might just be tap water.
Then we use those empty and the bottles before we're about to throw them away and use them for cutting tests because they're a good analog.
It's so refreshing.
Sure.
We've also got some cardboard because everybody can get cardboard. Speaking of shipping, the amount of times that you can just get something and you would throw this out, instead, you know, the box that you get your sword in, you wrap up a piece of string and you can give the sword a test.
I'm really excited to see how cardboard goes because I think cardboard might even offer a bit more resistance than tatami in some instances.
It definitely feels more solid, but it can't roll as tight. It's very right angle rolled.
I mean, just talking about bottles. Bottles are really interesting because it's not really about resistance, it's about edge angle, but for feedback on edge angle, bottles are great. Yeah. And so I think these absolutely, the substitute for tatami is the tricky one.
Yes, but when it comes to water bottles, something else that's important, if your edge alignment isn't sharp as well, it'll just bounce, which is a really good feedback because then it can help you improve in those areas.
Another one that we have, and that has already been used by a number of, people who like to do test cutting, pool noodles. I am on the fence.
I'm not feeling it too much. It's too bendy.
Very bendy.
Yes, especially up the top.
Though they can be oddly difficult to cut at times at the same notion, and it's because they're so light.
Yes, and something to mention is you need a razor sharp sword to really cleanly get through these. Now, for the most part, people will be saying, we want to have all these razor sharp swords. For the most part, you don't really have razor sharp swords. They're sharp enough to cut people in half, but they're not hair shaving sharp very often.
And something else with...
I have a mood. Couldn't resist.
Anyways,
moving on to the newspaper. Now, this is something that everybody gets a hold of, everybody throws out. You get a newspaper in your...
You get what you deserve.
Yeah, you get a newspaper in your mailbox, and most people throw it out, whereas wrap it up with a piece of string, and you got a good analogy for cutting.
Now, truthfully, I've actually never cut wadded up
really
paper.
Stuck.
Ow!
That was a good sound.
You're right.
I think I broke my finger.
On to newspaper. I've actually never tried newspaper. I'm not even sure if we should soak it or just leave it like this.
I feel like if we soak it, it's just going to fall apart. Like, I know we're going to soak the cardboard.
But maybe if we do it quick enough. Maybe
a quick soak.
Maybe it's
not a huge soak. I think you need to add some weight to it with the water. I think newspapers could be really interesting.
So in terms of price, we've got our water bottles. Now, if you buy these in bulk, these are, 10, 20 cents for when you get them in a full slab type deal. Newspaper, pretty much free. You get it in the morning. Tatami, about $20. Then another $40 for international shipping.
Yep.
Pool noodles, these ones that we've got are $2 each. And now all this is in our funny fake money. So.
And they're $2 each, and we ended up making 2 to 3 out of them because they were long pool noodles.
And then our cardboard.
Which is basically free.
So we've got a lot of cost-effective methods here. The most expensive thing on the table is the tatami. We're going to put them all to the test. Now the swords we're going to be using, Kriegsmesser.
Maybe.
A lot of people want to see this cut, especially because it's the European katana. So we put a bit
No. The katana is the Japanese Kriegsmesser. We have to get that right.
As Shad said, I put a little bit of a sharper edge on this because I had the rock edge on it previously, so this thing should slice a lot better now.
Ooh, yes.
This is also still sharp.
But we do have a couple of
Right
little
up the tip.
problems. The tip has rolled, and the sharpest point here for cutting around about this far has a couple of
Only-
rolled and chipped sections.
The worst part is at the tip, and we can avoid hitting that. If we just focus there,
Yeah.
it'll be good.
Now, today's video isn't specifically Kriegsmesser versus katana. I mean, who thinks that's coming up? Are we going to do that?
No, we are definitely going to do
we're
that. That
gonna
is
do
coming up.
Okay, but we're talking specifically about the cutting materials today, so we'll be swapping out these swords, and we'll give our opinions, our very subjective opinions.
Scientific opinions,
but I
where
just-
everything we say is objectively correct.
Yeah, not that I'm being at all objective or subjective with this, but why am I holding the katana and you're holding the Kriegsmesser? Swap, swap.
Yeah,
Swap.
you're the weeb. Take that.
Swap.
Okay.
I think we're testing.
I'd love to test my Lockwood longsword, but it's not sharp. I think you know though, even with a mostly blunt edge, I reckon I could get through a tatami with this. Really appreciate everyone who was watching this video, and as you might be able to guess, videos like this do cost money, and any type of support you're able to offer helps ensure that we're not only able to continue making this content, but try and push it even further and make bigger, better content for you. And we're only able to do this because of our incredible supporters, so we can't thank them enough, but we'll try. Thank you everyone who is supporting us, and if you would like to help see this content keep going, help support us, keep the lights on, we literally do rely on it at this time because ad revenue is some of the worst we've seen here on YouTube, and so $1 to $5, anything you can donate once a month, that would be absolutely phenomenal. You can do this through Player, Subscribe Star, channel memberships here on YouTube, or Patreon as well. Any type of contribution means the world. Thank you to everyone who is supporting us. And now let's get to the meat of the video. Tatami, I both like thee and hate thee.
I simply just like thee. We'll start off the cut test video with the tatami.
Yeah.
I think I go first.
It's so special, I thought I'd wear something different just for the tatami.
Just for the tatami
Just
and
for the
nothing
tatami.
else. Yeah.
In actual fact, I might not even be hanging around for the other test because I'm interested to see what you guys do.
Well, in that case, I might be wearing something slightly different and you might be wearing
Yeah,
It's tatami, it's special, it counts.
Right. So
all right,
I think we'll all have a go on this.
Yep.
Shad can have two, but we'll do one cut each for the most
Well,
part.
we mentioned in the intro, I do want to try and cut it with a
That's
blunt
why we're
blade.
giving you two. And whatever's left, I'll chop because you can go in the center. You'll probably need...
Thank you. Alrighty, let's do this. I'm just going to do... Arigato, Shad-san. So,
I was speaking random, he actually said something sensible.
so because we're trying to actually get at least one each, because I don't know if you know this, but we don't have a lot of tatami.
No.
That's what I think
well,
it is.
actually,
Hard to get in.
I'm just going to try
this
and
one.
do a little cut right here so there's plenty left for the other guys.
Okay.
You're skilled, I believe in you. You
go.
got this.
Shad, that was fantastic.
That was really nice. Do you want to release the inner child, or are you still being very critical?
It's just fun to cut things.
That seemed like it took way less effort than usual.
I
mean,
would-
What
I
could be
would-
the difference, though?
No, I actually put a bit of muscle into that one. I want to make sure I'm going to get through.
He's being super critical now.
He really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It's cutting. Why wouldn't you not enjoy cutting? Cutting is fun.
Yes, but-
but it was as fun with the Kriegsmesser as with the katana.
Is it going to be as fun with this?
Well, that's the question.
Let's swap.
Because, all right. We've mentioned that this is blunt, but I don't think people understand just how blunt this is. So if you can hold this,
Very blunt.
this is like easy. Look how much and I can even rub my finger along the
Oh, yeah.
blade blunt.
Sharp butter knife blunt. Oh, maybe a little sharper than sharp butter knife blunt.
But,
The truth is, when it comes to cutting tatami, it's not like it's super difficult or anything
well,
like that.
this would be the evidence right here because this is super blunt.
Yeah.
Let's see if it actually can get through.
Okay. So,
So
Shad,
if you can actually cut through this, I think your eyes will light up. But I don't know whether
I
it's
will.
going to work.
This is-
coming up next, Shad is going to ruin this piece of tatami.
If I cut next, leave me some.
That's more than halfway.
That's more than halfway, but it's,
You ripped all through
Yeah,
that.
that's
just
terrible.
ripped. I'm so sorry, Nate. Like, I actually wanted you to have a nice piece to cut. This is no longer a nice piece to cut.
You know what? You get a nice fun cut on that still.
Ooh!
That's a nice cut.
That felt so nice. That felt so nice. It felt like it wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
I mean, no, Western Blade's definitely better, but no, that was like really nice.
But now, this is tatami as a cutting material, very common. But obviously for us, it's a bit inaccessible, so
Yeah.
we have to have alternative.
We know what normal water bottles cut like, but the real question is you don't always have those around. So what are these like? Just things you'll pick up at the service station or for a night in gaming?
You want to, if you can, why not recycle everything?
Yeah.
These are usually just what we use because we drink a lot of water, but we do have other bottles laying around.
Exactly, and those are thinner, like walled, where these
Are thicker.
they are thicker and they've got weird shapes in them. So I feel like edge alignment's going to be right. And
They don't fit on the
balance-wise, no, but
holder. Upside down,
yeah.
works well.
All
So
right.
why don't you start us off?
Very nice. Very nice.
I know, it's not bad, huh?
Yeah, but I feel like if we're going to do fizzy drinks, we've kind of forgotten something to look really,
But something to mention is how thick this
really good on
plastic is.
camera. Yeah, no,
There's no joke.
that is much thicker. You want to cut one of these?
Nope, you can
You
do
sure?
it. No, I'm good.
Well, don't mess up his new haircut.
The water bottle is great for testing your edge alignment, things like that. It is good for that. However, this I've found to be very terrible.
Yeah, kind of random. So it's good for testing your edge alignment on entry because you can go and take a look at how your cut enters. But given the material that this is, you can get blades to flow through, but it's not as good as some of the other things we've found.
Well, I feel like it's so, like you said, random. When I cut a water bottle, it feels, I know that it's going to be a fine cut. Same with something like tatami, I know that it's going to be all right. But when it comes to a pool noodle, it's really just a gamble every time, I feel like.
Yeah, there's a few things, but I'll leave those thoughts for after I give it a couple of cuts.
Well,
so
you can go first.
yeah, with a
Cut it down to size, Nate.
pool noodles, but much better pool noodles this time.
Oh, okay.
So these are a bit firmer and should have a bit more give and less floppy.
Yep. We'll do some cuts with these then.
Yeah, so
These are good tests for things like swords. We use them for our cut tests.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to use it for now.
yeah.
Here we've got our forensics from all the cuts. This one's your particular cuts.
Yep, and these ones are yours, but let's go through that first.
So the Kriegsmesser was recently sharpened, and it cuts quite nicely.
It does, and these pool noodles, both of us are failing today, are apparently very, very nice. They're
nice.
firm. It's a good way of showing edge alignment because you'll see scooping if you're not, or it just flops completely if you are offline.
Yeah.
For context, this is a cutting method. We're meant to be able to like cut cardboard. We got one, but it didn't work properly and we couldn't cut through it. So we got thinner cardboard and it's been soaking in the rain. Now we can't even get the thing to stand upright. As soon as we do,
Well, that was interesting.
yeah.
It was. The results were kind of as expected, but it was good fun.
I was hoping the cardboard would have performed better as a cutting
It's
material.
I was
too
gonna say.
finicky. I know it's basically free, but is it really free if you're spending like an hour doing it?
And I was kind of really hoping for the paper because not everybody gets cardboard packages. Everyone gets the junk mail, and I'm like, I really want this to work, and it did it.
Well, why don't we run through each of them very quickly and our thoughts on them. So we'll start off with the tatami, because we all did the tatami. Tatami is just the best. I love tatami.
It is.
It's so nice.
It can be bad as well though, because it does require its own preparation.
Okay, I agree that it does require its own preparation. It's over very quickly. So that's why I probably wouldn't.
And I hate the cost. The cost.
Yeah.
For us, yes, the cost is just
But even
ridiculous.
so, a lot of people talk about the cost, even when shipping isn't such a big deal
Yes.
compared to some other things.
But
So
you can also, something we didn't show, but you can actually get half tatami, like half mats and things like that.
so you have half the amount of cuts
Yeah.
on the. Okay.
Well, no, you get twice the amount because the mat is basically half, like in terms of diameter.
Thinness, not length.
Yeah,
Okay.
diameter. Yeah.
Okay.
But then we moved on to things like the pool noodles. Pool noodles are very fun and cost effective, only $2.
So my concern with pool noodles is how resistant they are. They seem almost, but like, it depends on the pool noodle, because at first glance you think they're going to be too easy to cut through, yet you can get some surprisingly good feedback from trying to cut them. And this one is like, this is a good stiff one.
Exactly.
Something to mention is there is different types of pool noodles. We originally, when we went out and bought a whole bunch, we got the wrong ones. We got more like kids' versions. Like,
Yeah, they kind
and
of felt like foam, whereas this feels a little more like.
They were very floppy, they were very hard to cut, even with good edge alignment and a sharp sword. They just weren't very good.
And the feeling of this one is a little like it's still foamy.
Yeah,
but
this
it feels
is
a little more like melted plastic.
This is rigid. So this, it doesn't move as much, but it's also unforgiving if your edge alignment is off or you have a blunt sword.
You make a mistake. Well, on the plus side, it also bounces straight back, ready for you to kind of get
So
it.
I found this stuff very good. It was actually quite good, and we're probably going to be using it as a staple now.
Well, because that's the thing, in terms of availability and price, they're very, very good on those fronts.
This is half a pool noodle as well, so we get 2 out of every. So basically $1 each.
I'm not a fan that they're not biodegradable.
Yeah, that's kind of fair enough.
Water bottles aren't biodegradable either.
This is true. And in terms of
How many
what's
cuts
available,
you get? How many cuts for a water bottle versus this?
I know, you get a good amount of cuts, and these are cheap.
Yeah.
Like, how much for one of these?
$2 for a big long one.
And
Unless you find it on-
so it's basically, this is $1.
Yeah,
So I
$1
was
each.
going to say, and if you find it on sale like we did with one of them, that's 50 cents now.
So then we
50
moved on
cents.
to, water bottles. Now we've used water bottles forever, and they are very good for cut testing. However, you only get one shot, and you we don't use fresh water bottles. This is something, I don't know if we've ever said this, but we don't actually use fresh water bottles. We use the ones that we've already drank from.
I drink bottled water as a staple regularly, and so these are just bottles that are discarded left over from my normal consumption.
They're good. I do like them. I like the water splash. I like it's very dynamic.
Oh yeah, that is definitely a good part of the water bottle. If you get the cut just right, the bottom stays perfectly still, and the top just goes vertical.
But you only get one cut. Just one cut, and then it's done. And you're not really wasting water because we're watering the ground or whatever, but it's not as good as something like a pool noodle.
Yeah. It just seems cutting something with more meat in it seems more substantial.
Yeah.
And that's why, like tatamis and pool noodles, they just seem like it's a harder medium to get through.
Yeah. Then we moved on to our cardboard. Now, cardboard was a bit of a wild card. I thought it would be better if there's literally nothing else. Okay. But it wasn't good. It just wasn't good.
Yeah, but I feel like even the sharpest sword hits cardboard like a baseball bat.
Yeah.
It's gross.
So
like it is just gross to hit.
the methodology for cardboard is a little bit tricky. First off, the way you would want to do it is wet it before, roll it up, and then
Wet it a little before.
A little.
Just
so it's a little bit easier to roll up. And then when you're actually going to cut it, you're going to soak the whole thing for about 50 seconds.
Not very long at all.
And then when you hit it, it doesn't feel very nice.
And also there's something else. You soak it for about 50 seconds, and by the time you actually put it up on the stand and get ready to cut, you have to be quick, because if you let that water completely soak in, you can karate chop it out of existence.
And sometimes I found that the very core of it wasn't even wet. It was just the outer layers.
I kind of like that there was almost a distal wetness to it.
But okay, so our swords are very sharp at the moment. They're being freshly sharpened, so they're very sharp. They weren't able to really get through. It wasn't very nice. It just wasn't. And the same can be said for the paper. The paper was just
That was interesting.
That was horrible.
not fun.
Because the level you soak them affects how well you're able to cut into them a lot.
So for a couple of the cuts, we did a longer soak, and it basically just disintegrated. It was like hitting a wet rag. It was gross. So when we did a later cut, we soaked it for a shorter amount of time. And it was also gross. It just wasn't nice. It wasn't good.
Instead of it being like a deeper cut that was gross the whole way through, it was just gross on the outside, but it was enough.
And we found we were just like baseball teeing them off.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
No.
But I think that was basically all of the materials.
Yeah, and tatami is still one of the better ones.
It's the king.
Frustrating.
It is.
But it's expensive,
Yeah.
and depending on where you are in the world and regions, and like, we actually, like, for example, we actually can't get tatami in our country. Like, we can't buy from a local
There's
store.
no local store.
At all. So we have to buy them internationally, which means shipping is like 30, 40 bucks, more than the mats themselves. There's a reason why we don't use tatami that often. But then something like a pool noodle, we can just go down to our local store, buy all the stock.
Heaps of them.
All the
Yeah,
stock.
Heaps of them.
let's do a comparison. For one tatami, how much do they sell for again?
I think about 20 US, something like that.
something. And then the shipping on top is like, what,
Another
30?
20?
Yeah.
And so for one tatami mat, we could almost buy, what, 20 to 30
Yeah.
pool noodles.
And then in terms of actually how they feel to cut, like I would definitely suggest to someone, if you've never cut tatami, give it a go. It's very nice. It's actually a fun...
good to experience.
It is. It very much is. But if you're doing, you know, practice, you want to practice your edge alignment, those sort of things, pool noodles are king. Water bottles are also very, very good, but you only get one cut.
Yeah.
And I like cutting things, so
And if you do fail on one of these, you can actually recut it. Like you fail on a water bottle, that's it, it's gone.
it's done.
You fail on a tatami mat, probably done. You fail on this, it kind of springs back in a spot.
We've got to be clear here. $1 in our currency, in our
Yes,
money.
Australian dollars.
Yeah,
So that's
they're-
probably cheaper elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably cheaper elsewhere in the world. So, but I think that wraps up everything.
That's everything. And look, if you know of any other interesting mediums of good cutting targets, let us know in the comments, and we'll definitely give it a go, because I would love to find an even better, like, affordable alternative other than tatami mats and other than pool noodles. I would ideally prefer something that is a bit more environmentally friendly.
Like a full deer after we hunt it.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, maybe
it's very time consuming.
Maybe a side of pork,
Yeah.
like a pork roast.
Because we're going to eat it anyway.
Yeah.
Recycling.
So there we go. Like I said, if you know of those targets, let us know in the comments. Looking forward to reading them. And of course, hope to see you in the next video here on Chatterversity. So until that time, farewell.